Hey, what up, guys? Coming to you with the year-end top 10s. Today we're going to discuss the 200-pound cruiserweight division. This is pretty much the division right under heavyweight. I mean, not pretty much, it is the division right under heavyweight. It's between 200 and 175, so anything over 175 pounds all the way to 200 is the cruiserweight division. We're going to discuss this video's the dropouts and numbers 8, 9, and 10 on my list. So let's kick it off with the dropouts. We had 4 guys drop out from last year, so not crazy, but big names. Let's kick it off with the first fighter to drop out of the top 10 last year is 32-year-old, undefeated and former undisputed cruiserweight champion, Alexander Usyk. He was number 1 coming into 2019, but everybody pretty much knew in 2019 he was moving up to heavyweight, and that's what he ended up doing. He made my heavyweight top 10, so I will discuss, I'll discuss his stuff in detail, everything in detail on him, his year, when we talk about the heavyweights. And I don't see him returning to cruiserweight, at least not this year, so I don't see him getting back into the top 10 at cruiserweight. Next fighter to drop out is 26-year-old former unified champion Murat Gassiev. He entered the year number 3, but he was coming off that loss to Usyk back in 2018 in July in the World Boxing Super Series Finals, where Usyk whipped his ass and won the tournament and became the undisputed champion. So he was coming off that loss, that tough loss. He cited injury, so he, had some surgery to repair. I want to say it was his arm, but I'm not 100% on that, so don't hold me to that. But he came back, or he wanted to come back. He was planning on returning, and his goal was to return at heavyweight. He started off trying to return in June, then it became July, then it was October, and I couldn't even tell you after that. He never fought in 2019, so he's supposed to be returning at some point. When he does come back, it's supposed to be at heavyweight, but not now. So that was a year that he had. I don't see him returning to cruiserweight, but I wouldn't completely rule it out either. Maybe if like his debut at heavyweight isn't successful, maybe he could come back, but at least not right now. I don't see him coming back to the top 10 this year. Next fighter to drop out is 32-year-old contender Mateusz Masternak. He entered the year number 7. He was actually coming off of 2018 where he got his career best win when he stopped Yuri Kalenga in the 7th round of their fight, or 6th round of their fight in a rematch. And that punched his ticket to the World Boxing Super Series, where he took on Junior Dorticos, the tournament's number 2 seed, and a former world champion. And he fought hard. He was supposed to get knocked out, but he stood in there against Dorticos, who picked him as his opponent, so he handpicked him because he thought he was going to stop him. He fought his ass off. He dropped a 12-round decision, and I don't think anybody argued that Dorticos won, but he really put up a good fight and showed he's legit. But he stayed quiet for all of 2019, didn't do nothing, and then once he hit the 1-year mark in October, I dropped him out of the top 10, but right in that same month, I read that Masternak's plan is to enter the 2020 Olympics. So we're going to see him go after a gold medal in the Olympics. Last year, that became a new rule where professionals can fight in the Olympics for gold medals now in boxing. So we did have a couple professionals do it last year, Hassan Nadam in particular. All of them went home with first or second round losses. So he's going to represent Poland and try to become a gold medalist. I get that. That's a good thing, especially if that's the rule now. I think it's okay, for him to do that, but I'm hoping he returns to the cruiserweight landscape at some point, because I do like Masternak. He's a grinder and he's a veteran, and I'd love to see him finally get a world title shot, because he's never had a title shot. And he's currently not ranked by any governing body, so right now he's completely out of it. The next fighter, the next and last fighter to drop out of the top 10 is former WBA champion, actually former unified champion, Denis Lebedev. Lebedev entered the year number 8, and as a former champ, he had a mandatory shot at Alexander Usyk for the WBA Super Championship, which meant he was going to fight for the undisputed title if Usyk got in the ring. Once Usyk decided to go heavyweight, though, which no one was surprised by, Lebedev was supposed to fight the next guy up, and he ended up just not doing that, and he ended up retiring at some point. He didn't fight at all. Then, right at the end of the year, towards the end of the year, he decided he was coming back in December, and he was going to take on, I think, Tabizu Machinu or something like that. And he went in there and just got outworked, outboxed, and dropped a one-sided decision. You know, he's 40 years old now. He's still ranked in the WBC. He's ranked number 9 in the WBC. But he should be done and stick to his retirement now and drop out completely. I don't want to see him get beat up anymore. Lebedev's been in some wars. He's a good, solid former champion, but he just don't got it anymore. If he would have made the fight close with Machinu, who's a tough contender, if he would have made it close, then I could see maybe he could have some success at Cruiserweight, especially since the division's still wide open. But the fact that Machinu just completely dominated him over 12 rounds, yeah, I think that's it. I think he should retire. He's had a great career, and I hope we don't see Denis Lebedev back. And that's it for the guys that dropped out. So let's take a look at the 3 fighters, numbers 8, 9, and 10. We start with number 10, breaking into the top 10. He wasn't ranked last year. The current WBA super champion, let me get his name right, Arsen Goulamirian. Goulamirian, he's 32 years old. Kind of came out of nowhere. He wasn't really doing anything. I don't even know how he got ranked to compete for the super title and got in line for that, but he did somehow. And he was supposed to fight Lebedev for the vacant belt. Lebedev decided not to go with it, so he was upgraded to super champion. And after a year layoff in November, he took on little-known Kane Watts, got a 4th-round knockout. And then in December, he took on Konstantin Bejanaru, and he TKO'd him in the 10th round. Now, that fight, he was undefeated, Bejanaru. That was looked at as kind of so what. But Bejanaru beat another solid fighter. I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head. Oh, he beat Machinu, the guy that beat Lebedev. So the fact that Goulamirian knocked out the undefeated fighter, that basically he beat the guy that beat the guy. So Machinu, I was contemplating putting him in the top 10 because he beat Lebedev. But then I saw he lost back in 2017 to this guy Bejanaru, who's undefeated, and Goulamirian goes and stops Bejanaru. So he beat the guy that beat the guy. So I'm giving Goulamirian, because he's a WBA champion, I'm giving him the number 10 spot. That's why he's broke in. He's undefeated, got a great record, 26-0, 18 knockouts, and I hope he takes a step up this year and fights top-level competition to prove he's legit, because, you know, he's in the top 10 now and this division's wide open. Next, and finishing the year number 9 at Cruiserweight, is Kevin Lerena, who entered the year number 10, so he moves up 1 spot. He's still just a regular contender, though. He has not broken in. He's 27, and he had a 2018 where 2019, I'm sorry. He went 3-0, 2 knockouts, but it was all fighting nobodies. He took on some undefeated unknown guy named Arthur Mann, dominated him, 4th-round TKO. Then he beat Vasil Dukar by a 12-round decision. And then he took on Safari and got a 3rd-round TKO. All unknown fighters, nobody legit right there, stayed busy, and got wins. He actually refused, at the end of the year, he refused getting in line for a world title shot, which he could have fought, he was in line, he could have fought Ilunga Makabu for the WBC title, the vacant title. So kind of surprised by that in Lerena's moves. So he enters 2020 kind of unsure. He's got a good record, you know, but he hasn't, outside of his win over Yuri Kalenga a couple years ago, he hasn't really done anything. And I'm waiting for him to do something. The only reason he's still ranked is you know, his record and what he has done, and considering this division's wide open and nobody else has kind of done what he's done, even though he's done very little. So that's why he's still in. But I hope he has a better year. I want to see. He avenged the only loss of his career. He's 27-1, or 24-1, 11 knockouts. He knocked out the guy that got a decision over him, Johnny Mueller. He came back and beat him. That was a few years ago. That was the only professional loss of his career. So basically, you know, he's beaten every guy he's ever faced. And now I hope he just steps it up and faces the top-level competition now. I mean, that's what I hope to see. So we'll see what happens. But I want to see him get in the ring and fight somebody legit this year in 2020. He's not starting off too good, though. February 8th, he's coming back against 45-year-old Firat Arslan, who was a champion years ago but is nothing now. So I hope after that, after he's done with him, 1, I hope he doesn't struggle with him, and 2, I hope he comes back with something better. And now finishing the year number 8 is former world title challenger Andrew Tabiti of the United States. He entered the year number 9, so he moves up 1 spot to number 8. He's 30 years old. He had a 2019 where he entered the year coming off a really good 2018 where he had beaten, he knocked out Latif Coyote, a former world title challenger, and then he went to the World Boxing Super Series quarterfinals and took on undefeated Ruslan Fafer and got a 12-round decision over him to punch his ticket to the semifinals, where he fought the 2 seed Junior Dorticos. He was lined up for that at the last minute. The IBF, Alexander Usyk vacated the IBF title, so it became a world title fight also. So he had a big opportunity for Tabiti in the semifinals, but Dorticos just outworked him. He couldn't handle Dorticos' power. He tried to box. He had moments here and there, but Dorticos pretty much just kept coming at him, kept using his power as the leverage, and then he scored a brutal 10th round knockout on Tabiti and handed Tabiti his first loss. So he was quiet the rest of the year, didn't hear much about him. I think he will be back heading into 2020. I think he will be back. It was a tough year for him, but he fought, in my opinion, the best cruiserweight in the world right now. And, you know, something to learn from. He can get better. I'd love to see Tabiti do some damage. He's 17-1 with 13 knockouts. He's ranked in almost every governing body. His highest ranking is number 6 by the WBC. So, again, I just hope to see him back. He's a good fighter. But we'll see what kind of year he has. But I do think it's going to be a bounce-back year for him. It has to be. If he comes back, it has to be a bounce-back year. I just hope he doesn't take too much time off, because there's no shame in losing to Dorticos. He's in the finals of the tournament. A lot of people are favoring him to win. So, we'll see. But, yeah, I think Tabiti can work his way back in. So, we'll see what happens. All right, guys, that's it. That's numbers 8, 9, and 10. We had Andrew Tabiti. We had Kevin Larina and Arsen Goulamirian. And we had the dropouts: Alexander Usyk, Murat Gassiev, Mateusz Masternak, and Denis Lebedev. That's the year-end top 10s for the Cruiserweight division. True Boxing, you've been hit with the truth.